The Arab billionaire's bride shocked everyone by forcing a pregnant maid to sing at the wedding. Before continuing the story, let us know which city you are watching from in the comments below. A massive mansion with glass walls reaching up to the sky and adorned with gold details, located in one of Istanbul's most prestigious neighborhoods, was hosting the city's biggest wedding tonight. Thousands of white roses in the gardens, champagne glasses sparkling under crystal chandeliers, and distinguished guests from all over Europe. Everything was perfect. Mr. Tarek, a 35-year-old Arab businessman who inherited a $1 billion fortune from his father, was experiencing one of the most important days of his life. Dressed in a black tuxedo, he greeted guests with charisma, chatting with businessmen and politicians. Yet there was a strange emptiness in his eyes. It was as if he had lost himself in all this splendor. "Are we ready now?" asked his mother, her diamond earrings sparkling. "Layla is very excited. We don't want to be late." Tarek nodded and walked towards the grand hall. The guests had taken their seats, everyone waiting for the bride to arrive. Layla Hanım was the daughter of one of Istanbul's most established families. Known as much for her beauty as her arrogance, this woman always liked to look down on those around her. When the music started, Layla appeared. With her princess wedding dress, millions of lira worth of jewelry, and perfect makeup, she truly looked like a queen. As the guests applauded, Tarek tried to smile. This marriage would strengthen the cooperation between the two families and further expand their companies. When the ceremony began, everything was going according to plan. The guests listened respectfully as Imam Effendi recited his prayers. However, outside of this serious atmosphere that dominated the hall, the staff working in the kitchen and service areas were quietly doing their jobs. Maliki was a 26-year-old woman, 6 months pregnant. She was trying to make ends meet by doing cleaning jobs. Working at this big wedding would earn her good money. Every penny was valuable for the money she was saving for her baby. She was quietly wandering around the edges of the hall, straightening tablecloths, picking up fallen flower petals. No one noticed her. She preferred it that way. She just wanted to finish her work and go home to her small apartment. After the wedding ceremony, the guests moved to the cocktail garden. Surrounded by her friends, Layla accepted compliments, showed off her jewelry, and smiled constantly. But behind that smile was a cold expression. "Layla, congratulations. You look absolutely stunning," said one of her close friends. "Thank you, dear. Of course I look stunning. Today is my day because everything had to be perfect," replied Layla, scanning the room with her eyes. Meanwhile, Malik was quietly collecting the plates used by the guests. Standing up all the time was tiring her out, despite being pregnant, but she had to keep working. At one point, she put down the tray she was holding and pressed her hand to her back. "Who do you think you are, just standing there?" Layla shouted, noticing Maliki. "Aren't you working? Are we paying you to stand around doing nothing?" Maliki bowed her head. "I'm sorry, ma'am. I'll get right back to it." "Wait a minute," said Layla, turning to her friends. "Girls, aren't these maids interesting? They're always wandering around silently. They're like ghosts." Her friends giggled. A nasty glint appeared in Layla's eyes. "You," she said, pointing at Maliki. "What's your name?" "Me Malik, ma'am." "Melag, huh? Well, Maliki, do you ever sing?" Maliki was surprised. "Sing, ma'am?" "Yes, sing. Or do you just clean? Don't you have any talent?" The hall was starting to fill with other guests. Tarek had also noticed this group chatting from a distance, but he still didn't understand what was going on. "I just work, ma'am. I don't sing," she said to Malik. There was discomfort in her voice. "How can you not sing? Everyone sings. Come on, sing a song for our guests. At such a beautiful wedding, we expect a performance from the servants too." The guests around them noticed the situation and slowly began to approach them. Malik's face was red. She stood waiting with her hands clasped in front of her. "Ma'am, please. I only do cleaning. I don't sing." "You really will sing," insisted Layla, her voice rising. "This is my wedding and I want you to. Or would you rather be fired?" The hall had begun to fall silent. The guests were trying to understand what was happening. Tarek also approached the situation. He frowned. "Layla," he asked, "what's going on here?" "Ah, Tarek, you're just in time. Our maid will sing for us. I want to make our wedding more fun." Tarek looked at Maliki. There was fear and helplessness in the young woman's eyes. It was also clear that she was pregnant. It was very wrong to pressure her in this situation. Layla began. Maybe this isn't necessary. Of course it is. I want it. Come on, Malik, the whole room is listening to you. Sing your song. All eyes were on Malik. The young woman didn't know what to do. She couldn't risk losing her job. She needed this money for her baby. She took a deep breath and spoke. Lips parted. Which song would you like me to sing? Layla smiled triumphantly. Whatever you know. Go ahead and surprise us. Malik's heart was beating fast. The hall had fallen completely silent. Hundreds of pairs of eyes were watching her. She placed her hand on her pregnant belly. It was as if she was trying to draw strength from her baby. Layla and her friends waited, smirking. Frankly, they hoped the young woman would be embarrassed. Tarek realized how wrong the situation was. This was blatant bullying. But it was too late to stop Layla. Now the whole hall was waiting. You can start now, said Layla. Her voice was full of mockery. Malika closed her eyes and took a deep breath. She remembered her mother who sang lullabies to her when she was little, who told her how beautiful her voice was. Life was so much simpler back then. Singing just meant love and happiness. And at that moment, Malik opened her mouth. When the first notes came out, the whispers in the hall suddenly stopped. Her voice rose in a crystal clear, deep, and melodic tone. She was singing an old Turkish folk song. I am on a long, narrow road. Every word was filled with emotion, as if it came from her heart. The guests looked at each other in amazement. This voice was so beautiful that even professional singers would envy it. Malik continued to sing with her eyes closed. It was as if she had poured all her pain, hopes, and fears into this song. The mocking expression on Layla's face had disappeared. Her mouth slightly open, she didn't know what to say. This was not something she had expected. Tarek, on the other hand, was mesmerized. This voice was not only beautiful, but also had a deep sincerity. He was looking at Malik's face. She was standing with her hand lightly on her pregnant belly. It was as if she was singing to her baby. The hall was completely silent. The group of 150 guests was captivated by this unexpected performance. The elderly ladies were wiping their eyes. The men listened, nodding their heads. When the song ended, there was complete silence for a few seconds. Then applause broke out from one corner of the hall, then another, and soon the entire hall was on its feet applauding. Bravo, magnificent, what a beautiful voice. Who is this young lady? When Melike opened her eyes, she was shocked by the scene before her. Everyone was applauding her, some wiping their eyes. It was a reaction she hadn't expected. This can't be possible, Layla murmured. Her friends were also stunned. Tarek stepped forward and approached Malik. That was truly extraordinary, he said. There was warmth in your eyes. Thank you. Stammered Malik. Where did you learn to sing like that? Asked an elderly guest. My mother taught me. We always sang together when I was little, replied Meliku. Her voice was still trembling. At that moment, the hall manager came running up. Ma'am, I'm sorry. Our staff should not have disturbed the guests. No, said Tarek firmly. There was no disturbance. On the contrary, she gave us a wonderful gift. Layla's face flushed. The plan had backfired. While trying to humiliate Malik, he had turned her into a star. You can go back to work now, he said coldly to Malik. But voices began to rise from among the guests. Could she sing another song? Yes, please. We had never heard such a beautiful voice before. Maliki didn't know what to do. She just bowed her head and began to walk away quietly. But the warmth in her heart was something she hadn't felt in a long time. After Maliki left the hall, she headed for the kitchen. Her heart was still beating fast. She couldn't quite comprehend what had just happened. She brought her trembling hands to her face. Tears began to well up in her eyes. Malik, what's wrong with you? She asked. Aisha replied, Sis, the old woman who works in the kitchen. Your face is bright red. It's nothing, Aisha, sis. I guess I'm just very tired. Malik didn't have the courage to explain what had happened. Everyone would pity her and look at her with pity. Meanwhile, the impact of Maliki's performance was still lingering in the hall. The guests had gathered in small groups and were talking about that amazing voice. I really can't believe it. How can someone with such talent work here? Maybe she didn't have the opportunity to get an education. If she had taken voice lessons, she could have become world famous. Tarek was lost in thought as he listened to these conversations. What Layla did was very wrong. Everyone saw that. However, the result was an unexpected beauty. There was something about that voice, not just technical perfection, but deep emotion. Tarek, the guests are waiting to move on to dinner, said his mother, approaching him. Sure, Mom, I'll be right there, but his mind was still on Melik. Who was that young woman? Why was she working here? And most importantly, where did that voice come from? When dinner service began, Melik and the other waitstaff began circulating through the hall. The guests were now looking at her differently. Some greeted her with a smile. Others eyed her curiously. Excuse me, an elderly lady called out to Malik. You sing beautifully. Are you a professional? Malik bowed her head shyly. No, ma'am, it's just a hobby. A hobby? With that much talent, it can't just be a hobby. You should definitely get training. These kinds of conversations continued throughout the evening. Malik tried to do her job while constantly feeling embarrassed and not knowing what to say when she encountered guests. Layla, on the other hand, was grumpy all evening. Her friends kept talking about the maid's voice, which drove her crazy. Enough already. She's just a maid. Why are you making such a big deal out of it? Are you jealous, Layla? One of her friends joked. Jealous? Me? That's ridiculous. I'm a rich, beautiful, educated woman. Why would I be jealous of a maid? But deep down, her discomfort was growing. Today was her day. Everyone should have been talking about her, but now all the attention had shifted to that ordinary girl. As the night progressed, the guests slowly began to leave. As Tarek saw them off at the door, many people mentioned Malika. Mr. Tarek, we really saw a special performance tonight. Yes, that young lady's voice was magnificent. I hope we get the chance to hear her again. These comments preoccupied Tarek's mind even more. He found Layla by calling her. Layla, we have to see our guests off, of course. Layla came with a forced smile, but she was consumed inside. This wedding was her triumph, but now everyone was talking about that maid. After the last guest left, the cleaning began. Malik was tiredly collecting the plates. With the added fatigue of pregnancy, she was practically exhausted. Malik, called the hall manager, the boss wants to see you. Malik's heart began to race. Me? I don't know why. He just said to come to his office. Anxiously, she walked towards Tarek's office. When she knocked on the door, she was told to enter. She heard his voice. Tarek was sitting behind his large desk. He had taken off his tuxedo and was wearing only a white shirt. He looked tired but thoughtful. Please sit down, he said kindly. Maliki sat down hesitantly. She folded her hands on her lap. I'm sorry if I did something wrong, sir. A mistake? No. On the contrary, Tarek stood up and walked to the window. You gave a very special performance tonight. I wanted to thank you. Melik was surprised. I just did what the lady asked. My husband's request was wrong. It was not right of him to pressure you. I apologize for that. There's no need, sir. I'm just working. Tarek turned back and looked at her. Are you just working? That voice is much more than just work. Maliki bowed her head. My mother taught me. I lost her when I was very young. Singing is like my bond with her. Did you have professional training? No, sir. Our financial situation never allowed it. I barely finished high school. Tarek turned to his desk and looked at her. So, do you have a family now? Malik's hand automatically went to her stomach. I'm single, sir. I'm 6 months pregnant. This answer surprised Tarek. A young, single, pregnant woman had to work such hard jobs to make ends meet. He's the baby's father. He left us, sir. He ran away when he found out I was pregnant. Tarek felt anger welling up inside him. How could a man abandon his pregnant girlfriend? Where do you live? I rent a small apartment in Fatih. It's very simple but clean. So don't you ever think about your dreams of music? Malik looked at him with a bitter smile. Dreams are a luxury, sir. My priority is to provide a safe life for my baby. Tarek looked out the window and thought, there was something special about this woman. Not just her incredible voice, but her modesty, her resilience, her ability to stand tall despite the difficulties. Turning to Malik, he said, Says, I have an offer for you. An offer, sir? Yes, if you want to take voice lessons, I can support that. You can work with the best music teachers in Turkey. Malik's eyes widened. I don't deserve this, sir. Talent is something you're entitled to. Everyone heard that voice tonight. It would be wrong to waste such a talent. But why? You don't know me at all. Tarek paused for a moment. Why, really? He didn't fully know the answer to that question himself. Maybe it was the sincerity he heard in that voice. Maybe it was his respect for a woman who was trying to stay strong despite the difficulties. Or maybe it was something else he couldn't explain. Because it's the right thing to do, he simply said. Malik looked at him with tears in her eyes. Sir, this is such a great favor, but how can I repay you? Don't worry about paying. Just develop your skills. I don't know what to say. Just say yes. Starting tomorrow, I'll arrange a private tutor for you. We'll also reduce your working hours. You mustn't overexert yourself during your pregnancy. Malik stood up, trembling. Thank you, sir. I will never forget your kindness. At that moment, the door opened and Layla entered. She frowned when she saw Malika there. Tarek said, Why are you still talking to this maid? Layla was just leaving Malik. Malika immediately bowed. With your permission, sir, ma'am. As she walked out the door, she felt Layla's cold gaze on her back. But in her heart, there was a hope she hadn't felt in a long time. When Malika returned home, she still found that night's events dreamlike. Sitting in the corner of her small apartment that she had prepared for her baby, she thought about Mr. Tarek's offer. Could this be real? The next morning, she woke up to a call on her phone. I'm Mr. Tarek's assistant. He would like to meet with you. Can you be at his office at 10 o'clock? Malik's heart pounded as she said yes. Maybe last night wasn't a dream after all. When she arrived at Tarek's office, he wasn't the only one waiting for her. Standing next to him was an elegant woman of middle age. Malika, I'd like to introduce you to Serpil. She is Turkey's most famous voice coach. She wants to work with you. Serpil Hanım scrutinized Malika. I watched your performance last night on video. You have a raw but very powerful voice. We can achieve a lot with training. Am I really ready for this? We'll see if you're ready by working together. We'll have 2-hour lessons 3 days a week. We'll start from the beginning and learn vocal techniques. Tarek interrupted. Don't worry, Malik. Everything will progress at your pace. Your pregnancy will be taken into consideration. Mrs. Serpil added, voice training is actually very beneficial during pregnancy. Breathing techniques help during childbirth. While this conversation was going on, Layla was pacing nervously in another room. It was driving her crazy that her husband was showing so much interest in this maid. This is ridiculous, she muttered. Why would he spend so much money on a maid? But Tarek was certain of his decision. Malik had hidden potential in her voice, and he wanted to bring it out. Malik was very excited when the first week of lessons began. When she encountered the professional equipment in Serpil Hanım's studio, she found herself in a completely different world. We'll start with breathing exercises first, said Serpil Hanım. Voice begins with breath. This is even more important because you are pregnant. As the lessons progressed, Malika's talent became more apparent. She didn't just have a beautiful voice. Her ability to feel the music was also extraordinary. You are a true natural talent, Serpil Hanım said a few weeks later. It is very rare to work with students like this. During this process, Tarek would stop by the studio from time to follow Malika's progress. With each visit, he saw a different change in her. She had made great progress not only in her voice, but also in her self-confidence. One evening while Tarek was having dinner at home with Layla, his wife brought up the subject. Tarek, when are you going to end this servant business? What business, Layla? Malik is very talented. It's the right thing to help her. Is that right? Who are we to train street musicians? There are better places to spend this money. Tarek put down his fork. Layla, this money is mine and I decide how to spend it. Of course, it's your money, but your interest in this woman is very strange. People are starting to talk. Which people are talking? My friends are asking questions. Tarek stood up, wondering why he was showing so much interest in a servant. Your friends are very curious. Is helping someone a crime? Not helping, but following her so closely. You never showed me this kind of interest. These words made Tarek think. He was indeed following Malik's situation very closely. But why? Was it just generosity? Meanwhile, Meliki was progressing rapidly in her lessons. She was now singing simple songs perfectly and even adding her own interpretations. You're ready now, Serpil Hanım said one day. How about a little performance? A performance? Where? My close friend runs a small music club. He gives young talents a chance there. You can perform too. Melike was excited but also scared. Am I really ready? You are definitely ready. Mr. Tarek will come and support you too. When Tarek heard about this, he was excited too. He would be able to see Malika's progress live. When the day of the performance arrived, the small club was packed. Sir Peel's advice and Malika's story had spread, and curious people had come. When Melik took the stage, she was no longer that shy waitress. Her pregnant belly was noticeable, but she stood with confidence. When she started her first song, the club fell silent. Her voice filled the small space. Every note was full of emotion. Tarek sat mesmerized at one of the front tables. This was a completely different person. Her vocal techniques had improved, but most importantly, her stage charisma had emerged. Malika, who sang 3 songs, received a standing ovation. People got up from their tables and applauded her enthusiastically. She's a real star. How impressive. They should record this voice and sell it. After the performance, Tarek went to congratulate Malika. Malika said, "That was incredible. You're a true artist." Malika smiled with a look of happiness in her eyes. "It's all thanks to you, Mr. Tarek. If you hadn't given me this opportunity, I would never have made it this far. No, this is the result of your talent. I just opened a small door." At that moment, the distance between them had closed. They were looking at each other. They felt an indescribable bond between them. "I owe you so much," whispered Malik. "You owe me nothing. You got here through your own hard work." Malik's hand went to her belly. "My baby feels this music too." He was very active during the stage performance. Tarek smiled. "Maybe he'll be a musician too. I hope he lives in a beautiful world. A world filled with music." Her eyes filled with tears as she said these words. Tarek approached her. "You will live, Malika, and you will go to very beautiful places." But just then, a familiar silhouette appeared at the club's door. Layla was watching them with cold ease. Layla's appearance at the club's door suddenly changed the atmosphere. Her cold gaze wandered over Tarek and Malika. Her face showed a mixture of anger and jealousy. "Tarek," she called out in a harsh tone, "I figured I'd find you here." Tarek was surprised by his wife's unexpected arrival. "Layla, what are you doing here? I was wondering where my husband was. You didn't come home. You didn't answer your phone by phone. Your assistant gave me the address of this club." Sensing the tension, Malik began to back away. "I'll leave. I'm disturbing you." "No, Malika, don't go," said Tarek. "This is your night. We should celebrate your success." Layla became even more angry when she heard these words. "Success? Your relationship with this woman is getting out of hand, Tarek." The other people in the club had begun to notice the situation. Whispers rose. People began to watch them with curious glances. "Layla, please, let's not make a scene here. We'll talk about this at home." "At home? You're never home. You're always chasing after this woman." Malik couldn't take it anymore and intervened. "Ma'am, please don't misunderstand. Mr. Tarek just helped me, that's all." "Shut up," Layla shouted. "How dare someone like you come between us?" These words silenced the club completely. Everyone watched the scene in shock. Tarek stood up angrily. "Layla, what kind of talk is this? Aren't you ashamed? Am I the one who should be ashamed? There's a husband here who's in love with a maid. Am I the one who should be ashamed?" These words exploded like a bomb. Everyone in the club had heard the accusation. Malik's face turned bright red. Tears began to well up in her eyes. "I can't stay here," she whispered and ran out of the club. Tarek tried to follow Maliki, but Layla grabbed his arm. "You're not going anywhere. You're going to talk to me." "Let go of my arm, Layla. Your behavior is completely wrong." "Your behavior is wrong. You're a married man. You have a wife. Your interest in that waitress isn't normal." Tarek grabbed Layla's hand tightly and pulled her out of the club. They started talking on the street, in a quieter place. "Layla, you're being ridiculous. I'm just helping Malik." "Helping her? You call her several times a day. You follow her lessons. You come to her performances. This interest isn't normal employer interest." Tarek stopped and thought. Indeed, his interest in Maliki went beyond ordinary helpfulness. But how could he explain this to Layla? "I just don't want her talent to go to waste." talent, or something else? What do you mean? Your interest in that pregnant woman isn't just because of her voice. You look at her differently. Tarek, I noticed this accusation bothered Tarek greatly because maybe it was true. His interest in Maliki might involve more than just benevolence. Layla, this conversation is ridiculous. Let's go home. No, you can't just drop this. Either you end your relationship with that woman or else I'll end this marriage. This threat surprised Tarek. Layla looked serious. You're joking. Joking? In our 2 years of marriage, you've never shown her the attention you've shown me. I won't accept this. Tarek was silent for a long time. Their marriage was indeed problematic. They had both accepted this union due to family pressure and work reasons. True love had never existed between them. Layla, maybe this marriage was wrong from the start. What are you saying? We both know that this marriage was not based on love, but on our family's decision. Neither of us is truly happy. Layla fell silent after hearing these words. Because Tarek was right. She wasn't happy in this marriage either. She was only putting up with it for her social status. But that doesn't give you the right to have relationships with other women. I'm not having relationships with other women, Layla. I'm just helping someone. Then you'll stop helping her. When Tarek heard this ultimatum, his eyes filled with determination. No, I can't stop. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. Malika is a talented woman. It's my responsibility to support her. Your responsibility or your love? The question hung in the air. Tarek couldn't answer because he wasn't sure himself. Meanwhile, Malik was crying in her small apartment. What had happened at the club had shaken her deeply. Maybe Layla Hanum was right. She had gotten too involved in Tarek Bey's life. She was afraid to look when her phone rang. It was a message from Tarek. Malik, I'm sorry. Layla's behavior was very wrong. Please don't blame yourself for this situation. Malik held the phone in her hand and thought. She understood how dangerous this situation was for her. Tarek was a married man, and no matter how innocent it was between them, this relationship would be misunderstood by society. She wrote a reply. Mr. Tarek, maybe I should quit this training. I see that this situation is difficult for all of us. A few minutes after the message was sent, the phone rang. It was Tarek calling. Maliki, please don't think that way. You didn't do anything wrong. But your lady is right. I went too far. She's not right. You're just developing your talents. There's no reason for you to quit. But this situation is my problem. Just think about your own life. Don't miss this opportunity for your baby, for your future. Malik started crying. I don't know what to do, Mr. Tarek. Everything is so confusing. Come to the studio tomorrow. Talk to Mrs. Serpil. Don't rush this decision. After hanging up, Maliki thought for a long time. She couldn't deny the feeling she had for Tarek in her heart. It was no longer just gratitude. It was something deeper. But he was a married man and she was a pregnant, single woman. When she went to the studio the next day, Mrs. Serpil greeted her anxiously. Malik said, I heard what happened last night. I'm so sorry, Mrs. Serpil. Maybe I should quit these lessons. Why? You are very talented. You shouldn't miss this opportunity. But the situation is very complicated. Mr. Tarek's wife, Mrs. Layla's reaction is understandable but wrong. You have no bad intentions. Maybe my intentions aren't so innocent, Malik confessed. What do you feel towards Mr. Tarek? I don't know, gratitude or something else. It's very confusing. Serpil approached her and touched her shoulder. Malik, feelings can't be controlled, but behavior can. You're behaving correctly. What if Mr. Tarek has different feelings towards me? You should ask him that question, but first you need to be clear in your own heart. After her conversation with Mrs. Serpil, Malik wanted to spend some time clarifying her own feelings. After leaving the studio, she started walking through the streets of Beyoğlu. Even though she was 7 months pregnant, walking relaxed her. While sitting in a cafe drinking tea, she received a text message on her phone. It was from Tarek again. How are you? Did you talk to Mrs. Serpil? Malik was unsure whether to reply. Finally, she wrote, We talked, but I'm still undecided. A few minutes later, her phone rang. It was Tarek again. Malika, can we meet? We need to talk, is that right? After last night, I just want to talk. Let's meet somewhere public. She finally agreed. An hour later, they met in Taksim. Tarek was dressed casually. He looked tired. Thank you for coming, he said as they sat down. Mr. Tarek, is this conversation really necessary? Yes, very necessary, because you were treated unfairly. Last night, Malik folded her arms on the table. Your lady was probably right. I did too much, you did nothing. Wrong. The problem is with me. Is it with you? Tarek took a deep breath. Malika, my interest in you may have exceeded normal limits. This confession silenced them both. He could feel his heart beating fast for Malik. What do you mean? At first, I was just impressed by your talents. But then as I got to know you, I became fascinated by your strength, your sincerity, your fighting spirit. Mr. Tarek, please let me speak. I can't keep these feelings inside anymore. What I feel for you is not just kindness. Malik fixed her eyes on him. Well, I don't know what your feelings mean. That's why it's complicated. I'm a married man. You're a pregnant woman. But what? But the time I spend with you makes me feel something I haven't felt in years. Peace, happiness. Maliki felt her eyes well up. This is very wrong, Mr. Tarek. You are married. I am married, but I am not happy. There was never a real bond between Layla and me. This marriage was our family's decision. That doesn't change the truth. I cannot be part of this relationship. Why? Because I'm not the kind of person who would share another woman's husband, and it's not right for my baby either. Tarek shook his head. You're right. I know that too, but I can't control my feelings. They both remained silent for a long time. As the steamy aroma of caffeine rose from their teacups, a storm raged in both their hearts. So what do we do now? Malik asked. I don't know, but I do know that you shouldn't give up this talent. No matter what happens with me, how can I continue? It's not right that I'll be thinking of you in every class. Then I'll stay away. Keep working with Mrs. Serple, but I won't follow up. Malik's heart ached when she heard this offer. Continuing on this path without Tarek's support would be very difficult. Don't worry about financial support either, Tarek added. Everything will work out. What about your marriage? Tarek looked at her with a bitter smile. Layla is serious about divorce. Maybe it's for the best. Because of me? No, it was already troubled. You just showed me the truth. After this conversation, they both left with heavy hearts. When Melik returned home, she noticed her baby was moving. It was as if he could sense his mother's emotional state. My little angel, she whispered to her belly. You are my only truth. I must focus on you. The next few days were very difficult. Melik continued her studies but deeply felt Tarek's absence. Mrs. Serple had noticed the situation. Malik, your concentration has dropped significantly. What's going on? Nothing, Mrs. Serple. I'm just tired. Is it about Mr. Tarek? Malik lowered her head. He won't be attending classes anymore. Why? It's complicated. His wife is upset. Mrs. Serple approached with understanding. Malika said, sometimes life forces us to make difficult choices, but you shouldn't give up music. I've lost my motivation. Then let's find new motivation. I'm organizing a small concert this weekend, a platform for young talents. You should join. Malik hesitated. I don't know. Think about it. It's not just for you, but also for your baby. You want to leave him a bright future, don't you? Meanwhile, Tarek was having a serious conversation with Layla at home. Layla said, I've decided to end this marriage. Layla looked genuinely surprised. What? Are you serious? Very serious. We're both unhappy. This can't go on. It's because of that maid, isn't it? No, it's not because of Malike. This marriage was wrong from the start. We both know it. Layla thought for a long time. Well, if we're going to divorce, I have all my conditions. What are they? Financial settlement, alimony, and most importantly, your relationship with that woman will end. I don't have a relationship with Malik. Rest assured I won't because I'm going to get her out of Istanbul. This threat worried Tarek. What do you mean? I have acquaintances at the company where she works. I can get her fired. You can't do that, Layla. I will. If you're leaving me, I don't want that woman to be comfortable in this city either. Tarek stood up angrily. That's despicable. Isn't love despicable too? Isn't it despicable to fall in love with another woman while you're a married man? This argument went on for hours. Finally, Layla agreed not to touch him in exchange for Tarek cutting all ties with Malik. The next day, Tarek called Malika and they met for the last time. Maliki, I have bad news for you. What happened? Layla could hurt you. She could target you during the divorce proceedings. Maliki was scared. What could she do? She could interfere with your work, your studies. She has many acquaintances. Then what should I do? Tarek looked at her sadly. Maybe you need to get away from Istanbul for a while. What? Where would I go? My baby will be born here. I know. It's very difficult, but there's no other way. Malika began to cry. This isn't fair. I just wanted to sing. Tarek wanted to comfort her, but he couldn't. He had to keep his distance. I'm sorry, Malika. I'm so sorry. When Melike returned home after her last conversation with Tarek, she truly understood how her life had been turned upside down. 8 months pregnant, alone, and now she might have to leave Istanbul. Sitting in her small apartment, she placed her hand on her belly. What are we going to do, baby? She whispered. Everything was so confusing. When the phone rang, she saw it was Serpil Hanım. Serpil Hanım asked Malika, we'll rehearse tomorrow. Are we ready for the concert? Malik hesitated for a moment. With everything so confusing, could she perform in the concert? Serpil Hanım, maybe I should cancel the concert. Why, you're doing great. Why are you giving up? Personal problems, very complicated situations. Melik said, music gives us strength even in the most difficult moments. Come to the rehearsal tomorrow. Then you can decide. After hanging up the phone, Malik thought about it for a long time. Maybe Serpil Hanım was right. This concert could be her last chance. When she went to the studio the next day, she was met with an unexpected surprise. Serpil Hanım was standing next to a well-known producer from the music industry. Malika, I'd like to introduce you to Kemal Bey. He listened to your recordings. He was very impressed. Kemal Bey was a middle-aged man with a sincere appearance. Your voice is truly extraordinary. I want to work with you, said Mr. Kemal. Melik was surprised. Work with me? Yes. I'm planning an album project, adapting Turkish music to modern times. Your voice is perfect for this project. But I'm just an amateur. It doesn't matter that you're an amateur. If your talent comes so naturally, with training we can achieve great things. Serpil interrupted. Kemal Bey's project is very serious. This is a real opportunity, Melike. So what are the terms? First, let's make a few demo recordings. If they're successful, we'll sign a professional album deal. Malik was confused. On the one hand, this was a tremendous opportunity. On the other, the possibility of having to leave Istanbul. Could I have some time to think about it? Of course, but don't wait too long. Opportunities like this don't come around often. That evening, while Melik was considering the offer, an unexpected visitor arrived at her door. Aishi from the cleaning company they work for at the wedding said, Malik, I have bad news for you. What happened, Aisha? The company has decided to fire you. They're not giving a reason, but Malika's heart started racing. When? Starting tomorrow. They're also cutting your salary. Realizing that Layla's threat was being carried out, Malik panicked. What would she do if she lost her job? Sis, can we do anything? It's difficult, dear. It's a decision from higher up. Someone has it in for you. That night, Malik couldn't sleep at all. When she woke up in the morning, she had made her decision. She would call Mr. Kamal and accept the offer. She had no other choice. Mr. Kamal, I accept your offer. Great. Come to the studio tomorrow and let's start the first recordings. Meanwhile, Tarek was furious when he found out what Layla had done in his office. He immediately called his lawyer to speed up the divorce proceedings. Attorney Hassan Bey, let's get these proceedings over with as quickly as possible. Tarek Bey, your wife is demanding very harsh conditions. The dispute could drag on. It doesn't matter. I'll give whatever is necessary. But this marriage is ending. At the same time, when he learned that Melike had been fired, he wanted to help her, but he couldn't communicate with her directly. He wanted to send her money through Serpil Hanım. Serpil Hanım, how is Malike's financial situation? It's tough, Tarek Bey. She was in a lot of trouble after being fired. But Kamal Bey has a project. Hopefully it will work out. Kamal Bey? Who is he? He's a music producer. He wants to make an album with Malika. This news both delighted and worried Tarek. Malika's career would develop, but she might move away from Istanbul. Malika was very excited at her first recording session. The professional studio, the microphone, the technical crew, everything was like a dream. Mr. Kamal said, "Relax, we're going to record your natural voice." As she sang the first song, Malik poured all her emotions into the music. Her struggles, her hopes, her love, her pain, everything was reflected in her voice. "Perfect," said Mr. Kamal when the recording was over. "This will be a true masterpiece." The technical crew was also impressed. "We've never heard a voice like this before. It's very special." The recording sessions continued for a week. Every day, Malika gained a little more confidence. Despite her pregnancy, her energy was high. "Malika," Kamal Bey said one day, "I have another offer for you. What is it?" "There's a big music company in Ankara. They want to hear you too. If they like it, it could be a national project." "Will we have to go to Ankara?" "Yes, it's a week-long program. We'll record there. There will also be a few live performances." Malik thought about it. Ankara would be far from Istanbul. Maybe this was the way to escape Layla's pressure. "When? Next week. But of course, since you're pregnant, we need to get your doctor's approval." When Melike went to the doctor gave his approval. "There's no problem with traveling, but try to keep your stress levels low." Meanwhile, Tarek had heard that Malike was going to Ankara. He had learned this information from Mrs. Serpil. How long will she stay there? A week? Maybe more. If the project works out, she's thinking of staying there. Tarek was sad deep down, but he knew this was best for Malik. She couldn't live under Layla's pressure in Istanbul. On Melike's last day before going to Ankara, Serpil Hanım threw her a farewell dinner. Malika said, "You have a very special talent. Make the most of this opportunity." "Thank you, Serpil Hanım. I wouldn't be here without you. You got here through your own hard work. Don't forget that." When she returned home that evening, Malika looked at the streets of Istanbul for the last time. She had experienced so much in this city: love, disappointment, hope. Her phone rang and it was an unknown number. "Hello, Malika, it's Tarek." Hearing his voice made her heart race. "Mr. Tarek, why are you calling? I heard you were going to Ankara. I wanted to wish you luck." "Thank you, Malika. There's something I've never been able to tell you." "What is it?" "I feel very lucky to have met you. Very few people have left a mark on my life. You are one of them." Malik felt her eyes well up. "I feel the same way about you. I hope you are very successful in Ankara, and I hope your baby is born healthy." "Thank you. Be happy too. Maybe one day our paths will cross again." Perhaps after hanging up the phone, Malika cried for a long time. This might have been her last conversation with Tarek. The next morning, Malika was getting ready to go to Ankara. She had packed the most essential items in her small suitcase and also brought a few things she had bought for the baby. Despite being 9 months pregnant, this journey gave her hope. Kamal Bey met her at the train station. "How was the trip, Malik?" "Fine, thank you. I'm a little tired but excited." "You're doing the right thing. There are opportunities waiting for you in Ankara. Plus, no one knows you in this city. You can work comfortably." These words reassured Melike. She had truly escaped the pressure of Istanbul. When they arrived in Ankara, Kamal Bey put her up in a small but comfortable hotel. "The first registration is tomorrow. Rest today. Explore the city." As Melike walked through the streets of Ankara, she felt a different energy. This city promised her new beginnings. Sitting in her room that evening, she noticed her baby was very active. "You're excited too, aren't you, my little angel?" she murmured. When she went to the studio the next day, she was greeted by a much larger team than the one in Istanbul. Music company executives, producers, sound technicians. "Welcome, Ms. Malik," said the company director. "We listened to your recordings. We were very impressed." "Thank you. We're thinking of doing a live performance today. That way we can get to know you better." When Malik took the stage, she looked stunning, even with her pregnant belly. When she picked up the microphone, that familiar confidence came over her. When she started singing her first song, everyone in the studio was mesmerized. Her voice had a power that went beyond technical perfection and deeply affected the listener. Incredible, said the manager. When the performance ended, we must record this voice. If she wants, we can offer her a long-term contract, said the producer. We have both single and album projects. Kamal approached Maliki. What do you think? Is this real? Do they really want to work with me? Of course it's real. You are a very special talent. That evening at the hotel, Melike felt truly happy for the first time in a long time. Her life was finally heading in the right direction. When her phone rang, she saw it was Serpil Hanım. How is Malika doing? Very well, Serpil Hanım. They really want to work with me. Great. That's wonderful news. So, are you thinking of returning to Istanbul? I don't know. I'm thinking of staying here, at least until my baby is born. That's the right decision. By the way, there's news about Mr. Tarek. The divorce process has begun. This news both saddened and somehow relieved Maliki. I hope he finds happiness too. Just think about your own happiness now. The following days were spent in recording sessions. Maliki was improving a little more every day, gaining confidence. Despite being in the last weeks of her pregnancy, her energy was high. A week later, the music company made her an official offer. Ms. Malik, we are offering you a 3-year contract. 2 albums in the first year, concerts and projects in the following years. What are the terms? Salary, bonuses, a share of album sales. We can also provide opportunities for your child. Childcare, educational support. When Melike heard this offer, she almost cried. A secure future for her baby, and for herself, the chance to fulfill her dreams. Can I have some time to think about it? Of course, but this is really a great offer. Opportunities like this don't come to everyone. That evening, Malik spoke to her belly in her room. My baby, we did it. We'll be safe now. But at midnight, sudden stomach pains began. Labor pains were coming. She panicked and called the hospital. Help, I think labor has started. When the ambulance arrived, Malik was in great pain. When she was taken to the hospital, the doctor examined her. Yes, labor has started. Your baby will be born in a few hours. Malik was alone. No one was with her. But she wasn't afraid. She was excited. She would finally meet her baby. The delivery was difficult. After hours of labor pains, her baby was born in the morning. Congratulations. You have a beautiful daughter. When the doctor placed the baby in her arms, Malik felt a love she had never felt before in her life. This little angel was now her everything. Hello, my angel baby, she whispered. I am your mother. I love you very much. The baby was so beautiful. With her big eyes and tiny hand, Malik forgot all her difficulties as she kissed her. When Mr. Kamal heard the news and came to the hospital, he found Malik very happy. Congratulations, Malik. It's a beautiful baby. Thank you. I named her Melody because we met through music. That's a beautiful name. So have you thought about the company's offer? Yes, I accept. I want a secure future for Melody. After staying in the hospital for a few days, Malik moved into a small house with Melody. The company provided her with all the necessary support to stay in Ankara. When her first album was released a month later, it received a lot of attention. Her album, Anadolu'nun Sesi, Voice of Anatolia, won the approval of both traditional and modern music lovers. One day while playing with Melody at home, she was watching the news on TV. The news anchor said the following. The divorce case of the famous businessman Mr. Tarek has been finalized. It was announced that he and his ex-wife, Leyla Hanım, had divorced by mutual consent. When she heard this news, Malike's heart skipped a beat. Tarek was now free, but much had changed between them. When Melody started crying, her mother picked her up and began singing a lullaby. It was the same voice, the same affection. But now there was a new purpose, to be the best mother for her daughter. That evening, when the phone rang, she heard a familiar voice. Melike, it's Tarek. There was a long silence. Hello, Tarek. I heard your baby was born. Congratulations. Thank you. She's a beautiful girl. I named her Melody. What a beautiful name. How are you? Are you okay? I'm very well. My life has changed a lot. I'm a mother now and a very successful artist. I listened to your album. It's amazing. How are you? I heard about your divorce. I'm fine. I'm finally free. But what? I miss you. These words silenced them both. There were still unresolved feelings between them. I miss you. The words hung on the phone. Melik felt her heart beating as she held Melody in her arms. Tarek, we shouldn't be having this conversation. Why? I'm free now. You've built your own life. Because so much has changed. I can't just think about myself anymore. I have a responsibility to the Melody. Tarek took a deep breath. Malik, I want to tell you something. In these 10 months, not a single day has gone by without me thinking about you. Tarek, please, no, listen to me. The night I first heard you at the club, I wasn't just captivated by your voice, I was captivated by your strength, your resilience, your sincerity. Pregnant, staying strong despite your difficult situation. Melik felt her eyes well up. That's in the past, Tarek. We have different lives now. Is that really true? Is it in the past for me? It should be. You're a big businessman in Istanbul. I'm a mother making music in Ankara. What if this distance is insurmountable? What if I leave everything and come to you? These words shocked Maliki. What are you saying? Leave your life? Yes. If you want, I can move my companies to Ankara or sell them completely and start a small business. That's ridiculous. You can't do that. Why can't I? Is there anything you wouldn't do for love? Love? Maliki's voice trembled. Yes, love. I'm in love with you, Malik. I've wanted to say this for 10 months. Malik was silent for a long time. Melody was sleeping in her arms. Her small breaths could be heard. Tarek, I love you too, but is that enough? Why wouldn't it be enough? Because you're a man with a wealthy job. I'm just a simple woman. I have a baby. I have responsibilities. These aren't obstacles. They're things that can be solved. But what if people find out you're Melody's father? What will we tell your family, your business circle? Tarek spoke with determination. It doesn't matter what they think. What matters is our happiness. Are you sure? Will you really leave everything and come here? I'm coming tomorrow. What? Tomorrow? Yes. I can't wait any longer. I want to see you to meet Melody. Melik was scared. Tarek, this is too sudden. I'm not ready. I waited 10 months, Malika. Enough is enough. After the phone call ended, Melika couldn't sleep for hours. Was Tarek really coming? And what would happen if he did? The next day, someone knocked on her door in the afternoon. When she opened the door, she saw Tarek. He had flowers in his hand and a determined look on his face. Hello, Malik. You really came. I told you I would. Malik let him in. Tarek looked around the house. It was small but cozy. Melody was sleeping in the crib in the corner. Is this Melody? He whispered. Yes, she's sleeping soundly now. Tarek looked at the baby. His eyes were full of love. She's beautiful. She looks just like you. Let's go inside. Let's not wake her up. They sat in the living room. There was an awkward silence between them. Tarek, are you really thinking of leaving everything behind and staying here? I'm not thinking about it. I've made my decision. I can manage my companies from Istanbul. I'll go there a few days a week. What if I don't want to? Melik looked away from him. I don't know. I'm scared. Why are you scared? Because it's a huge step. If we make the wrong decision, Melody will be affected too. Tarek approached her. Malika, look at me. When she looked up, she held Tarek's hands. I love you and Melody very much. I want to be her father. I want to always support you. Really? There's nothing else in my life I'm this sure about. At that moment, Melody started crying. Malik got up and picked her up. She must be hungry. As Tarek watched Malika look at her baby with a mother's tenderness, he felt his heart melt. This image showed him their future. Melik, what's your answer? Melik thought as she fed Melody. The love in her heart was stronger than her fears. Yes, she whispered. Yes? Yes, stay. Stay with us. Tarek stood up and hugged her. Thank you. I will make you very happy. A year later, a small wedding ceremony was held in Ankara. Melika stood next to Tarek in her white wedding dress. Melody, now a little girl who had started walking, was in her arms. I say yes, said Melike, her eyes shining with happiness. I say yes too, said Tarek. His voice was filled with infinite love. Only their close friends were at the wedding ceremony. Mrs. Serpil, Mr. Kamal, and a few people from the music company. It was a simple but sincere ceremony. Mrs. Serpil watched with tears in her eyes. This story is like a real fairy tale, added Mr. Kamal, and the music of this fairy tale is very beautiful. After the ceremony, Maliki took the stage and sang a song for the guests. The same voice, the same talent, but now she was much happier and more peaceful. When the song ended, Tara came on stage and embraced her. Let this be our song. Which song? The love song, our love song. Melody was clapping with her little hands, as if she could feel her mother's happiness. They spent their honeymoon in Cappadocia. Under the balloons, he sang to Maliki again. This time it's just for Tarek and Melody, you know, said Tarek. That night at the wedding when Layla forced you to sing, I didn't know it would be the turning point of my life. I didn't know either. I was just so embarrassed. If you hadn't sung that night, none of us would be here. Melik thought as she slept in Tarek's arms, Melody in her arms. Life could sometimes offer the most beautiful surprises in the most unexpected moments. 2 years later, Melika had become one of Turkey's most beloved singers. Tarek sat in the front row at her concerts. Melody watched her mother from the stage. Sing, Mom, she shouted. Melody had started talking and was singing to Malik. The song she had been forced to sing on that wedding night, for love, for happiness, for fulfilling her dreams, had actually been the beginning of her life. The most beautiful form of love emerges in unexpected moments. Never give up on your dreams, because even in your most difficult moments, they can carry you to your most beautiful days. Like Malike, your story can also have a happy ending. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories like this, and like this video, and share your comments. See you in our next story. Yeah.